I missed the sound of rain on my own roof, the particular creak of the third step on my staircase, the way afternoon light used to pool on my piano keys, turning them golden. Here, in my daughter's house, the silence was different, thicker, like it had weight. I stood at the guest room window, watching Seattle's November rain blur the streetlights. Guest room. That's what Emily called it. I'd been a guest for 8 months now. The iPad sat on my nightstand, its screen dark. Emily had given it to me last Christmas, pre-loaded with easy apps for seniors. She'd shown me how to video call Sophia, my granddaughter, then never mentioned it again. I think she assumed I'd never figure out the rest. I picked it up, the glass cool against my fingers. The Doorbell app icon glowed in the corner. I'd found it 3 weeks ago while trying to enlarge photos. One accidental tap, and suddenly I was looking at my daughter's front porch in real time. I'd almost deleted it. Almost. Mom? Emily's voice carried up the stairs. Dinner in 10. Coming, sweetheart. I called back, using the voice I'd perfected. Light. Undemanding. The voice of someone who knew she was a burden and was trying very hard not to be. I'd given up my house to move here. It just makes sense, Emily had said, her lawyer voice smooth and certain. You're alone. We have space. Dad would want us to take care of you. She'd said it standing in my kitchen, the kitchen where I'd taught her to make pie crust, where she'd done homework at the table, where her father had kissed me goodbye every morning for 37 years. Sensible. That was Emily's favorite word. I descended the stairs carefully. My hips still ached from the fall last spring, the fall that had started all this. Emily had flown home, horrified to find me alone, and within a week she'd made her case. What if you'd hit your head? What if no one had found you? She'd held my hand, her eyes bright with unshed tears. Please, Mom. For me, for Sophia, we need you close. So I'd said yes. I'd put my name on the deed of my house along with Emily's and David's, just in case something happens, and moved into their guest room. I'd convinced myself I saw relief in Emily's eyes. The dinner table was set for 4. Sophia sat in her usual spot, earbuds in, sketching in her worn notebook. She glanced up when I entered, offering a small smile before returning to her drawing. Sophia, earbuds, David said without looking up from his phone. My granddaughter complied, but her expression darkened. She was 12, caught in that strange space between childhood and something else, all limbs and fierce opinions and drawings that made me ache with their honesty. Emily emerged from the kitchen carrying a casserole dish. She looked tired. She always looked tired lately. Sorry, it's just chicken and rice again. I had 3 depositions today. It looks wonderful, honey, I said, meaning it. Can I help with anything? No, you sit. You did enough today. She paused. You did go for your walk, right? Dr. Morrison said movement is important. Just to the corner and back. I'd actually made it 4 blocks, but I'd learned to downplay my independence. It seemed to make things easier. David finally looked up from his phone. How's the hip, Margaret? He never called me Mom. In 8 months, always Margaret. Respectful enough that I couldn't object, distant enough that I understood my place. Much better. Thank you. Sophia pushed rice around her plate. Grandma, can you help me with my art project after dinner? We're supposed to do portraits of family members. Soph, Grandma's probably tired, Emily cut in. And you have that math homework. I don't mind, I started, but Emily was already moving on, asking David about his day, and the moment dissolved. I ate quietly, listening to their conversation flow around me like I was a stone in a stream. After dinner, I offered to clean up, but Emily waved me away. You should rest. We've got it. So I climbed the stairs back to the guest room, back to the window, back to the iPad. I don't know what made me open the Doorbell app that night. Curiosity, maybe. Loneliness, probably. The front porch appeared on screen, empty except for the potted plants Emily had arranged. I was about to close it when I heard voices. The doorbell camera picked up sound. I hadn't known that. Emily and David stood just out of frame, and their voices carried clearly in the November air. "Can't keep doing this," Emily was saying. Her voice had an edge I rarely heard. "I'm exhausted, David. I can't be a lawyer, a mother, and a caretaker all at once. So, what do you want me to say?" David's tone was flat. "She's your mother. I know that. God, don't you think I know that? But she's everywhere, all the time. Just there, watching, making me feel guilty for living my own life." My chest constricted. I should have closed the app. I should have. "We talked about this," David continued. "When we move her in, I told you it would be like this. You told me a lot of things." Emily's laugh was bitter. "You didn't tell me she'd last this long in such good health. She's going to be around for years, David. Years." The words hit like fists. Last this long. Like I was an illness someone was enduring. "The market's good right now," David said, and something in his voice made me grip the iPad tighter. Her house would sell fast. That neighborhood's prime real estate. We could use that equity for the new place. The one with the actual in-law suite. She's on the deed. So? She signed it over to us. It's basically ours already. We just need her to agree to list it. And then what? She lives with us forever in the in-law suite? A pause. Rain pattered against the lens. "Or we look at those places I mentioned," David said quietly. "The nice ones. Sunrise Senior Living. Symphony Care. They have music programs. She'd probably love it." Emily didn't respond immediately. When she did, her voice was small. "I feel like a terrible person." "You're not. You're practical." She'd understand. Would she? Because I'm not sure I understand. They moved out of range then, their voices fading. I sat in the dark room, the iPad screen glowing, my reflection visible in the window beyond. An old woman, a burden, someone whose death was anticipated, whose life was an inconvenience. I didn't cry. I was too old for crying. Instead, I saved the recording. Over the next 3 weeks, I became a spy in my own family's life. Each evening, around 9 o'clock, Emily and David would take the dog for a walk. They'd pause on the front porch, thinking they were alone, and they'd talk. The doorbell camera captured every word. I learned that my house, was already under contract with a realtor. They'd started the process 2 weeks ago. "We'll tell her when we're ready to list," Emily had said. "No point stressing her out before we have to." I learned that Symphony Care cost $7,000 a month, but they have live music on Fridays, David had offered. Like that made it better. I learned that Emily had been sleeping poorly, that she resented how much Sophia had bonded with me, that she felt like she'd lost her own daughter to her mother. Soph barely talks to me anymore. Everything's Grandma says, and Grandma thinks. I'm the bad guy in my own house. I learned that David had a promotion coming that would require relocation. They were keeping it secret. Another reason to get the house situation settled, he'd said. I saved every recording. 19 in total. Each one a small cut, a paper cut, the kind that hurts more than it should. The worst one came the week of Thanksgiving. I can't believe my mother named me after her mother, Emily had said. She'd been drinking wine, her words loose. Emily Grace. Like she needed to brand me, claim me. And now here I am, trapped by duty just like she was probably trapped by her parents. Is this just what women do? Give up their lives for the generation before? You're not giving up your life, David had said. Aren't I? What's mine anymore? My house isn't mine. My daughter prefers my mother. My career's suffering because I'm always worried about whether Mom took her pills or if she's fallen again. When does it end? When we make it end, David had replied. And the weight of that statement sat heavy in my chest for days. Thanksgiving morning, I came downstairs to find Sophia in the kitchen, her notebook open on the counter. She was sketching, her pencil moving in quick, angry strokes. Morning, sweetheart, I said, putting the kettle on. You're up early, can't sleep. She didn't look up. Mom and Dad were fighting again last night. My hand stilled on the kettle. About you, I think. They always whisper, but I can hear the tone. She finally met my eyes. Are you leaving? The question caught me off guard. What makes you think that? I heard Mom on the phone. Something about an apartment tour. But I thought you lived here now. I crossed to her, looked down at her drawing. She'd sketched our family, but the proportions were all wrong. She'd drawn herself and me, large, detailed. Emily and David were shadows in the background, barely outlined. Is this for your school project? I asked. Yeah. Portrait of family. Mr. Chen said to draw what we see, not what we're supposed to see. She touched the image of me with one finger. You look sad in everything I draw. I don't know why. You're always smiling. Am I? She studied my face. Your mouth smiles. Your eyes don't. This child. This heartbreaking, too observant child. Sophia, I started. But Emily appeared in the doorway, already dressed, her hair perfect despite the early hour. Morning. She smiled brightly, the lawyer smile. Soph, can you go get dressed? Grandma and I need to talk. Sophia gathered her things slowly, shooting me a worried look before disappearing upstairs. Emily poured herself coffee, her back to me. So, Mom, I wanted to run something by you before everyone gets here today. My heart began its slow, heavy drum. What is it, honey? She turned, leaning against the counter. Professional. Prepared. David and I have been thinking about the future. Your future, specifically. You've been doing so well here, but we want to make sure you have the right support as you get older. I see. There's this wonderful community, Symphony Care. It's not a nursing home, it's independent living. You'd have your own apartment, but there are activities, medical staff on site, transportation. I scheduled a tour for next week, just to look. I set down my teacup carefully. And my house? Something flickered across her face. What about it? Are you planning to sell it? The silence stretched. Through the window, I could see the rain had stopped, leaving everything glazed and gray. Mom, I found the contract, Emily, with the realtor. You signed it 3 weeks ago. Her face flushed. I was going to tell you. I just wanted to have all the information first. The market's really good right now, and the house is just sitting there, empty. The money could secure your future, set you up at Symphony Care for years. Set me up. With my own money. From my own house. You put us on the deed. You wanted us to handle these things. I put you on in case something happened to me. Not so you could sell it while I'm still alive without asking. We're asking now. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. She had my nose, her father's chin. She had the same stubborn set to her mouth that I saw in the mirror every morning. She also had fear in her eyes. Fear and guilt and exhaustion. Emily, I said quietly, do you want me here? That's not fair. It's a yes or no question. She crumpled then, just a little, sank into the chair across from me. I don't know. I love you. I want you safe and cared for. But this wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought it would be easier. I thought. Her voice broke. I thought I'd be a better daughter. You are a wonderful daughter. I'm not. I resent you. I hate that I resent you, but I do, and I hate myself for feeling that way. She looked up at me with wet eyes. Tell me what to do, Mom. Tell me how to be enough. For a moment, I saw her as she'd been at 12, Sophia's age, asking me how to be enough, even then, always measuring herself against some impossible standard. You can't be everything to everyone, I said. Your father taught me that, near the end. He made me promise I wouldn't make you my whole world after he was gone. What? He knew I'd be tempted to lean on you, rely on you, make you responsible for my happiness. He made me promise I'd stay independent, build my own life. I thought moving in here was different. I thought I was helping you, but I was breaking my promise to him. And I was teaching Sophia that women should sacrifice themselves for duty. Emily wiped her eyes. So what do we do? I pulled out my iPad, opened the Doorbell app, and slid it across the table. First, you should know I've been accidentally recording your front porch conversations for 3 weeks. Her face went white. It's okay, I said. I'm not angry. I needed to hear the truth. You couldn't say it to my face, and I couldn't ask. But I heard you. I paused. And now we can both stop pretending. The Thanksgiving dinner was stilted. David was overly polite after Emily told him about the recordings. He kept asking if I needed anything, his guilt obvious. Sophia kept looking between all of us, her artist's eye cataloging every tension. Can I show everyone my project? Sophia asked during dessert, desperate to break the awkwardness. Sure, sweetie, Emily said. Sophia ran upstairs and returned with her notebook. She'd finished the portrait, added color. Emily and David were no longer shadows. She'd drawn them sitting far apart, each looking at their phones. She'd drawn herself and me in the center, close together, my hand on her shoulder. The title read, What Family Looks Like, From Where I Sit. Emily stared at it for a long moment. When she looked up, her eyes were red. Is that really how you see us? She asked her daughter. Sophia shrugged. Mr. Chen said, draw the truth. That night, after David had gone to bed and Sophia was in her room, Emily and I sat in the living room, the space where I was usually just a guest. I don't want you to move to Symphony Care if you don't want to, Emily said, but I also can't keep doing this. I'm failing at everything. Work, parenting, being a daughter. Something has to change. I know. I took a breath. I'm going to look at apartments, real ones, for myself. Keep my independence. You're going to sell my house. Because you're right, it's just sitting there. But the money stays in my name. For my care, my choices. Mom, I'm not done. You and David are going to marriage counseling. That conversation on the porch where he talked about making things end? That scared me, Emily. Not for me, for you. And Sophia needs her mother back. You can't give her that when you're drowning in guilt and resentment. I can't afford. The first 3 months are my treat, from the house money. Consider it rent for the 8 months I stayed here. I smiled. After that, you're on your own. You're not mad? After everything? Honey, I'm 68 years old. I've survived a lot worse than finding out my daughter is human. I took her hand. Your father used to say that love without honesty is just polite lying. We've been lying to each other out of love. Time to stop. She squeezed my fingers. I'm scared I've damaged things with Sophia forever. Then fix it. She's 12, not gone. But she needs to see you stand up for yourself. Take care of yourself. Not sacrifice yourself. There's a difference. When did you get so wise? When your father died and I realized I'd been letting him make me feel useful instead of making myself useful, I won't make that mistake with you. I moved out the week after Christmas. Found a small apartment in a building full of artists and musicians, cheap rent, because the heating was inconsistent and the elevator broke down weekly. It had tall windows and enough space for my upright piano, which we moved from my house before listing it. Sophia came over every Wednesday after school. We'd work on her art projects, and I'd teach her piano. Emily and David went to counseling on Wednesday evenings. Slowly, awkwardly, they started talking to each other again. My house sold in February. The money went into an account in my name. I used some for the apartment deposit, some to sponsor Sophia's entry into a young artists program. The rest sat there. Mine, giving me a safety net I'd never really had before. In March, Sophia's school had an art show. Her portrait series was featured 3 pieces: before, during, and after. Before showed our Thanksgiving table, everyone separate, everyone sad. During showed the doorbell camera footage, translated into sketch form, with speech bubbles she'd imagined based on my descriptions. After showed 5 separate scenes. Emily and David, on the counselor's couch, holding hands. Sophia at an easel, painting. Me at the piano in my apartment, windows open. And in the center, a new drawing of Sunday dinners at Emily's house. All of us there, but different, present, real. She titled the series, What Honesty Looks Like. It won first place. At the reception, Emily stood beside me, looking at her daughter's work. "She made us look better than we are," she whispered. "No," I said. "She made us look like we're trying. That's better than pretending." David joined us, carrying paper cups of punch. He handed one to me, and for the first time he said, "Thanks, Mom." "For what?" "For not letting us be the villains. You could have. Those recordings. You could have played them in front of everyone, made us look terrible. You're not villains, David. You're just human. We all are." Sophia bounded over, her blue ribbon pinned to her shirt. "Grandma, Miss Peterson wants to know if you'll play piano at the spring concert. She said Soph mentioned you used to teach. Did she now?" I looked at my granddaughter, saw her father's hope, her mother's determination, and something entirely her own. I'd be honored. That night, back in my apartment, I sat at my piano. The keys caught the streetlight exactly right, turning them golden. I played an old song, one my mother had taught me, that I'd taught Emily, that I was teaching Sophia. My phone buzzed. A text from Emily. "Thank you for showing me it's okay to need less than everything. Teaching Soph the same. Love you." I texted back. "Love you too. See you Sunday." And I did see them Sunday, and the Sunday after that. But now I had Monday through Saturday for myself, for my piano students, for the book club in my building, for Mrs. Chen from 3B who taught me to make proper dumplings, for the life I'd forgotten I could build. 6 months later, Sophia asked if she could interview me for a school project about strong women. "What makes me strong?" I asked, genuinely curious about her perspective. She thought about it, pencil tapping against her notebook. "You didn't fight back mean. You fought back real. You showed Mom that you could love her and still choose yourself. That's like revolutionary, Grandma. Revolutionary. At 68, with a cranky hip and an apartment that smelled like someone else's cooking, I was revolutionary." "Your mother's strong too," I said. "She admitted she needed help. That takes more courage than pretending you're fine." "I know. She tells me that now, when I'm stressed about school or whatever. She says, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to not ask for help." Sophia grinned. "She says you taught her that." "I had to learn it first." "How?" "I thought of the doorbell camera, the 19 recordings I'd eventually deleted. The truth they'd revealed, painful and necessary. Sometimes you have to accidentally spy on the people you love to realize you're all keeping the same secrets," I said. "And then you have to be brave enough to stop keeping them." Sophia wrote that down. Then she looked up, her expression serious. "Do you regret moving out of our house?" "No, sweetheart." "Do you regret that I did?" "No. I miss you sometimes, but Mom's happier, and you're happier. And I learned that love doesn't mean living in each other's pockets." She paused. "Also, your apartment has way better light for drawing." I laughed, the sound surprising me with its fullness. "Is that the real reason you come over?" "Duh," she grinned. "And the piano lessons. And because you let me eat ice cream before dinner. And because you actually listen when I talk about things that don't matter. Everything matters when you're 12. Everything matters when you're 68 too, I think. You just pretend it doesn't so other people feel comfortable. This child. This heartbreaking, too observant child who'd somehow learned to see through everyone's performance. You're going to be dangerous when you grow up, I told her. Good, she said. Someone has to be. A year after I moved out, Emily called me on a Tuesday afternoon. Mom, can you come over? I need to show you something. I found her in her home office, laptop open, a familiar nervousness in her expression. The same nervousness she'd had at 8, showing me her first essay. At 16, introducing her first serious boyfriend. At 25, telling me about the promotion that would require long hours. What is it? She turned the screen toward me. An email. I've been offered a partnership at the firm. Emily, that's wonderful. It would mean even longer hours, more travel, more pressure. She looked at me. A year ago, I would have turned it down. I would have told myself I couldn't manage it, that I had too many responsibilities, that I needed to be home more. And now I have a husband I can actually talk to, a daughter who knows I love her even when I'm working, and a mother who taught me that I don't have to sacrifice my ambitions to be a good person. She smiled. I'm taking it. David's going part-time at his job. We're hiring a house cleaner. Soph's therapist says she's thriving, and I wanted you to be the first to know. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you too, Mom. You could have made us the bad guys. Instead, you made us better people. You were already good people. You were just exhausted people pretending to be superhuman. There's a difference. She came around the desk, hugged me tight. Thank you for the doorbell footage, for not using it to hurt us. I deleted it all, I said. Kept one recording. The one where you said you felt like a terrible person, and David said you were practical. I keep it to remind myself that people are complicated, that we can love each other and still hurt each other, that intentions matter less than impact. Can I hear it? I pulled out my iPad, found the file I'd marked, remember. We listened together, to younger versions of themselves, scared and guilty and trying so hard to do right while doing wrong. When it ended, Emily wiped her eyes. I was so afraid. I know, I'm still afraid sometimes. But now I tell David, I tell my therapist, I tell you. That's called growth, honey. Sophia asked me the other day if I was happy. Not fine, not okay. Happy. Emily shook her head. I realized I didn't know how to answer. I'd spent so long just trying to survive each day. And now? Yeah, I think I am. Or I'm getting there. She squeezed my hand. You? I thought about my small apartment with its sticky windows. My piano students, young and old, who showed up each week with their hopes and mistakes. The book club, where Mrs. Chen and I argued about endings. Sophia's Wednesday visits, Sunday dinners with my family, real conversations now, no more performing. The life I'd built, smaller than before, but entirely mine. Yeah, I said. I think I am too. That evening, Sophia called me on FaceTime. She was in her room, her wall covered with sketches and paintings, the portrait series prominent. Grandma, question. For your birthday next month, would you rather have a party or no party? What would you prefer? That's not how questions work. I asked you first. Small gathering, I decided. Your family, Mrs. Chen, maybe a few of my piano students. Deal. Can I make you a painting? Always. What should I paint? I looked around my apartment, at the life I'd created post-doorbell, post-revelation, post-everything. Paint what freedom looks like to you. That's abstract. You're an artist. Abstract is your job. She grinned. Okay, but don't complain if it's weird. I never complain about your art. True, Mom does though. She said my last painting of her made her look tired. She was tired. That's what I said. Art is truth. Sophia struck a dramatic pose. Mr. Chen says all great artists are truth tellers. Mr. Chen is right. Grandma? Yes, sweetheart. I'm glad you moved out. The words should have stung. They didn't. Me too, Soph. Like, I love you being at Sunday dinners. But I also love that you have your own place and your own life and you're not just, like, existing for us, you know? I know. Mom says you taught her that she's teaching me, that we're breaking a cycle or whatever. We are. Cool. She paused. Also, Mrs. Chen taught you to make dumplings, right? Can you teach me? Mom's ordering pizza again for dinner and I want real food. I laughed. Wednesday, dumpling lesson. Yes. Okay, gotta go. Love you. Love you too. Revolutionary. She beamed at the nickname and clicked off. I sat in my quiet apartment, the piano silent behind me, the city sounds drifting through the open window. Somewhere in this building, Mrs. Chen was probably making dinner. Downstairs, Marcus was practicing his saxophone, the notes climbing up through my floorboards. Outside, Seattle was doing its Seattle thing, rain and coffee shops and people living their complicated lives. I pulled up the doorbell app one last time. Emily and David's front porch was empty. the plants thriving, the camera angled perfectly to catch their coming and going. I deleted the app. I didn't need to spy anymore. They talked now, really talked, and so did I. My phone buzzed. Emily again. Forgot to ask. Can you play piano at the partnership celebration dinner? David wants to surprise me with our wedding song. I texted back. Of course. Which song? The one we danced to. I can't remember the name. The one about beginnings and endings being the same thing? I knew the one. Something about circles, about how everything returns, changed but familiar. I went to my piano, pulled out the sheet music, and started to play. My fingers found the melody, muscle memory taking over. The song was about cycles, yes, but also about breaking them, about how every ending creates space for a new beginning. Sophia's portrait series had been called What Honesty Looks Like. If I were to paint my own version now, I'd call it What Freedom Looks Like. It would show a small apartment with tall windows, an old woman at a piano, the sunset turning everything golden. A family gathered around a dinner table, talking, really talking, no one performing. A 12-year-old girl with paint under her fingernails and revolution in her eyes. And in the corner, barely visible, a deleted app, a doorbell camera that no longer mattered, the truth already told, the secrets already freed. I played the song through once, then again, better this time. By the third time, I had it perfect, ready for Emily's celebration, ready for the new beginning that her partnership represented, ready for whatever came next. Outside my window, the streetlight hummed its electric song. The rain had started again, soft and steady. Inside, my apartment was warm. My life was small, but mine. My family was complicated, but honest. My granddaughter was learning that love didn't require martyrdom. At 68, I'd finally learned what my husband had tried to teach me, that you could love people deeply without losing yourself in them, that sometimes the kindest thing you could do was stop pretending everything was fine. That doorbell cameras, for all their surveillance, sometimes captured the truth we needed to hear. I closed the piano lid gently, the sound soft and final. Tomorrow, I'd teach a 10-year-old boy his first Bach piece. Tomorrow, Sophia would come over for dumplings. Tomorrow, life would continue in its messy, honest, beautiful way. But tonight, I sat in my small apartment, in the life I'd reclaimed, and I was enough. Just me, just this. Just the sound of rain and the hum of the streetlight and the knowledge that love, real love, let you choose yourself too. That was revolutionary enough.